Hello, good evening everyone, and welcome to the fourth session of the Friendly Beekeeper webinar series organized by Denmark Conservation. In our previous webinar, we have discussed about the tools and equipment required for the beekeeping, and today we are going to talk about the language of the bees and how honeybees talk to each other. Our resource person for the day is Dr. Anura Indrajit Sirisena, who is a senior lecturer of entomology and the head of the Department of Plant Sciences at the Faculty of Agriculture, Rajaraj University of Sri Lanka. I welcome you on behalf of Dilma Tea and Dilma Conservation for today's session. Before we start today's session, there are a few announcements to make. The first one is, if you have missed any of our previous webinars, you can simply visit our Facebook page and find them in the video section. All the participants must register with a valid and working email address for the webinar series. Since there will be a valuable e-certificate issued for your participation in this webinar series, it is important to provide your correct information. Please note that the certificate will be awarded at the end of the webinar series. During this webinar, there will be interesting poll questions, and you are all welcome to give them a try to make this session more interactive and interesting. And if you have any questions related to today's session, you can simply put them in the Q&A tab, or you can just put them as comments in our Facebook live video. Please refrain from asking questions on the chat section of the webinar. So, Dr. Anura, shall we begin?
Yes, thank you, Tharindu, for your nice introduction and for some background information related to this webinar series. So now we have been done maybe 2 to 3 webinars so up to now on different aspects of beekeeping. And today we are going to talk some another special topic. It is related to the bee communication, the bee lingo, right now, how bee languages. Yes, and now, you know, when we do the communication is important. Can you imagine when large people live in the same place or same institute or country or wherever, right? So the communication is very important. Lots of troubles will arise now, right? So for example, in honeybee colony, there may be more than 10,000 bees, sometimes 20,000 bees around, right? Now how they can live in a very concealed, in very specific place, very small place, right? So because they have very good communication, right? So they can communicate with different things, and queen as the leader, she can communicate with among their members, right? So likewise, so we should have some idea, understanding about their communication, and by having the knowledge or some idea about how they are communicate, so we can easily handle them, right? So we can less harm them when we are handling bees. Now, you know, bees, the foraging bees especially, they are forage nectar and pollen. So they are protein source and carbohydrate sources. Now we have talked earlier as well. And it is not all the bees at the beginning of the day go out and searching some food resources, right? So there are some special kind of bees, a set of bees, that they will go out and check whether there is a good foraging source, and then they will come back to their hive, and then they will deliver the message. Okay, I have found a kind of a good resource, good plant, good flowering source, good nectar source. So why don't you come and see that resource likewise, right? So this communication is very important. So they deliver this message exactly, right? So they give exactly in which location that plant is located actually, right? So we will see today how actually they do that. Now, yeah. So for their communication, they mainly use 2 aspects. So they can communicate physically. Now actually I am doing physical communication. I am talking with you, right? So sometimes you may be asking some question in the chat. So it's a kind of 2-way communication. It's a kind of physical communication, right? Now bees also cannot talk, but they can do something else, right? So actually they can do bee dance, So this bee dance is very specific ability that they have, so they can communicate by moving their body, right, in rhythmic way, right? So while they are walking in a special kind of circuit, right? So they move their body parts, right? By doing that, what we call a beat dance, right? So by doing that, they can communicate with other bees. Now when they are doing this dance, there may be some set of bees will always getting information from that particular dance. Actually, this the bee dance concept were first investigated by yeah, here you can see um, yes, these are the scout bees. Actually, the scout bees, you can see these are the bees now who leave the colony early in the morning to find some food sources, right? So it is a kind of saving energy, because if all the bees want to go out, right, in searching food resources, it's a kind of waste of their energy. But instead, these scout bees will go and try to find some places. So these are actually a set of foraging bees, right? Now they communicate this foraging bees. The foraging bees are the one who go out for the collecting nectar and pollen. All other bees, we used to say house bees, right? So house bees are there and foraging bees are there. Now among these foraging bees, there are a set of bees we call scout bees. So they will go out and see, sorry, possible plants for to collect nectar and pollen. Okay, we'll see how they communicate now. For the bee dance, now this ecological phenomena actually, okay, seems to be a question there.
Yes, Dr. Anurag. This is the first poll question for today's session. And the poll is: foraging bees collect resources, nectar and pollen, and select the correct answer. There are 3 answers. They collect one resources at a time, either nectar or pollen. They collect all resources, that means nectar and pollen at the same time, and all absorb. So all the participants can give a try. Let's see what are their choices. So most of the participants think that bees collect all the resources, nectar and pollen at the same time. So Dr. Anurag, actually what are the bees doing during their foraging?
Yeah, now foraging, I think it's interesting to see the results today. I mean, normally the foraging bees, they will carry on what they found for the first time. First, now if they found a good pollen resource, they will keep on collecting pollens. They don't worry about nectar. Similarly, if some bees found a nectar source, they will keep on drinking nectar rather than collecting pollen. It is very rarely they collect both together, right? Now, therefore, the answer is actually first one, the first option. Normally, they will go for either pollen or the nectar, not both. That's at the same time, right? Yeah, mainly they will focus on one thing at a time. Okay, we were talking about the dance, bee dance. So this bee dance was investigated by actually, I could tell you earlier, Carl von Frisch. So he's a kind of ecologist, right? So it's a kind of Austrian ethologist. Now he identified this behavior of bees. For that, actually, he got Nobel Prize also. It's very interesting behavioral study. Now, the bee dances, there may be 3 types of bee dances: round dance, sickle dance, and tail wagging dance. Now, you can see round dance here. Now, in a round dance, normally round dance is performed. I mean, the scout bees, they once they collected the information, so and when they return to the hive, they will run in a circular circuit, right? A circular path, and in one point they may change the direction. Again, they will come run in a same circular circuit, right? Now you can see some set of bees are getting information. Okay, now in this case, rarely they give information on the distance, but the directions, but the distance. Now, suppose one of your friend wants to come to meet you to your house, right? Now, when you explain that, I mean, the road map, right? How to come your home. So you will tell your friend, okay, you come along this road and you turn left and turn right likewise. So by doing so, what we are going to give actually the direction as well as the distance. If you know the direction as well as the distance, then your friend can easily find you. Now similarly, the bees, the scout bees, they will give the directions as well as the distance on the food source, right? Now then definitely the other bees will go quickly to that place and they will collect the resources. Now this round dance is the first thing, it's a very simple one. If the food resource is very close to their hive, right, if it is maybe within 1 or 2 meter periphery of their the nest, then they will do this sort of dance. Actually, while they are doing this dance, they offer some samples also, right? Now, if they have already drunk with nectar, they will offer some nectar by regurgitating, by vomiting or something like that. So they just offer some nectar to their friends, right? So then the others know, okay, what sort of nectar source that they are available, likewise, right? So this bee dance, the round dance, is a very primary one. If food source is very close, so they will do this dance. Now the second type is sickle dance. Now in sickle dance, if the food source is maybe 20 to 60 feet away from the original hive, they will run in a kind of a pathway to mimic like a sickle, right? I think you are familiar with the sickle, the one that we use for the harvesting, right? So sickle shape, I think you are familiar. Now, if they are running in a sickle shape path, that means the locations may be between 20 to 60 feet away from the hive, right? Now, remember, they collect this information in the open environment, in a horizontal plane. And when they are returning to their hive, they have a dark condition and a vertical plane, right? So see how they can communicate this, right? So it's very interesting. And the third type of dance is tail wagging dance, or the waggle dance, right? Now here you can see the bees are running on a straight line, right? Now they are running a straight line, they waggle their tail. Now actually they don't have a tail, but their abdomen, right? So they shake their abdomen by either side of their body. By doing that, they will walk on a straight line, and then again they come into the original position, and they will run in the same line, right? Now by doing that, they will communicate the distance as well as the directions also, right? Now if they spend very long time on this straight line, that means the food source is very far away places, right? Very far away places. Or if the dance tempo is very high, I mean, if they are shaking the abdomen very frequently, that means it is something interesting. I mean, the food source may be very interesting. There may be very high sugar content in the host plant. Likewise, by looking the dance, the dance following bees can get a lot of information. Now, if we go more into detail of this dancers, so in next slide we can see how actually they are moving. Yeah. Okay, now by having different types of dance, or whether it is round dance or the sickle dance or the tail wagging dance, right? So they can convey, or they can give some idea about the distance to the food source. So what about the direction? I mean, your friend case, right? You say turn left, turn right, likewise. But here, what they do, they use the direction of sun first, right? They use the directions of sun, and they measure the angle. All right, they measure the angle from the direction of sun as to the direction of the food source. Here you can see some flowering plant, and there's a 20 degree from the directions of the sun for this food source. Now, once they back into their hive in the vertical plane, so they use this anti-gravitational direction. You can see up here, right? Up is equal to the direction of the sun. Okay. Now, up is actually anti-gravitational direction. The gravitational direction is always downward, no? Right? The direction of the gravity is always towards the earth. And here up denotes the anti-gravitational direction. Now, this anti-gravitational direction is very equal to the sun of direction. So, the direction of the sun. And you can see they make an angle, a 20 angle to the right side, and they may now this bee maintain this angle when they are working in a straight line, right? Now because of this angle, the bees know, okay, when we go out, we should find the direction of the sun first, and we have to turn 20 degrees from away from this direction, right? And then they will find the place very quickly, right? And if it is not clear, just have a look on the pictures in the bottom, right? Now in the first one, the flower source is located towards the direction of the sun. Now in such case, you can see the honeybee, the dancing bee, is maintain its direction towards the anti-gravitational direction, right? There are no changes in the angle. Now in the other cases, so you can see the flower source is away from, to the left hand side of the direction of the sun. Now then they will maintain the direction like that. Now likewise, depending on the directions of the sun and depending on the angle that they create from the directions of sun and the flower source, right? So they convey this angle, right? They convey this angle when they back into their height. Now the dance following bees will get the information on the distance as well as the direction. So no worries, they can go and find the food source without any problem. And okay, now here you can see the dancing bee, right? How it walking, and dance following bees also you can see here. And now if again, if I repeat in the same, this the straight line, the time that these bees spend on the straight line is proportional to the distance of the food source. Now if it is millipera, European honeybee, if that bee spend around 1 second on the straight line, it is proportional to 1 kilometer, right? If they running in a straight line for 1 second, that means the food source is located 1 kilometer away from the nest. Likewise, right? Or if they spend very short a time, millisecond or something like that, then it may be very close, right? So likewise, and while they are walking in the straight line, so they shed their abdomen as well. Hopefully we can see this dance. Yeah. Okay, other than this bee dance, actually, we can see some other behavior, physical communication among bees, that is bee hissing, right? Now, for example, when intruders are coming in, when an enemy is nearby, now bees are always creates a kind of vibration, right? Vibrations on their, they shake their abdomen in a rhythmic way, and it will go across the comb as a wave, right? As a wave, right? Then everybody know. Now it may be start from the one edge of the comb, and this will go like a wave across the comb. Then all the bees know there is an enemy, or there is some condition that they have to worry about. Then all the soldiers may be ready for the attack. Now it is very conspicuous in case of Dosata or the Bambara colonies, right? Now when some moth species, or when any bats or some, I don't know, some vertebrates, right? So they may try to attack Bambara bees, right? Now in that case, they may show some characteristic waves, right, across the comb, right? By doing that, they will actually communicate to each other. By doing that, actually, they make some noise also, what we call bee hissing, right? And when we are always approaching a bee colony, you can hear some characteristic noise that they create, right? Okay, now that is also kind of physical communication that they use to convey in between. Okay, now are we? Yes. Can we go to the next slide then? Yes. Now, not only this physical communication, right? The chemical communication is also there. Now, bees are very good at chemicals. Now, the main chemicals, actually the pheromones, right? Pheromones are released by the queen. Not only the queen, actually, the others or the other members also can release pheromones time to time. But majority of the pheromones are released by the queen, right? There are various aspects that she has to do, or she's the one actually control everything. Now, for example, suppression of queen rearing, right? Queen rearing. If workers start to rear some new queen, it will be a kind of problem for the existing one. Therefore, she emit a kind of pheromone, right? So because of this pheromone, all other workers, so they cannot rear a new queen. And there's a very good labor division among the colony. One set of bees have to develop comb, the other set has to be look after the youngs, and others has to be clean the floor. Likewise, there are different, and some has to go for foraging. Okay, and all these activities are actually governed by queen by different chemicals. It's not the same chemical, right? So she can emit different types of chemical, even her food, right? There are some pheromones released from the food, what we call food pheromone, and there are retinine pheromone, right? Mandibular pheromone, likewise, from different places of her body can emit different pheromones. And mating behavior. Now, in case of mating, has to attract some drones, right, for the mating purpose. And in such case, you may use some another pheromone, right, or aggregation pheromone, likewise. So now the queen bee, then she communicate all the members, or she control all the members of the hive by using different chemicals. Not only the physical communication, chemical communication also very important in a honeybee colony. And yes, you can see here now the queen is in the center, right, in purple color dot. This is in the thorax. Now the queen court is always surrounding her. Why? Because she's emitting some pheromone to attract the queen court. Now always they will attend her, they will lick her, they will feed her and clean her, and everything will be done by the scout bees, right? And this scouting bees normally feed royal jelly to her and digest her food for her, obtaining and transferring. Now some queen substance produced by queen will take by these scout bees, and they will spread among the members of the colony, right? It's not other bees can easily reach the queen, right? Only the scout bees can reach her. Therefore, they will take the queen substance and they may spread among the members. Likewise, now this is mainly done by the mandibular pheromone. Okay, the other pheromones. What are the other pheromones? Now, alarm pheromone. For example, I told you at the beginning, not only the queen, others also can emit some pheromones, right? Worker bees. Worker bees, they can emit some pheromone like alarm pheromone, right? Now, in this alarm pheromone, so when they release the alarm pheromone, what will happen? So it will communicate to others, okay, there are some enemies, so be alert, likewise, right? And especially when they sting on someone, right? So this alarm pheromone also released at the same time, right? So then all other bees know who is the enemy, and they will come and attack the same. There may be some multiple attack. Once one bees attack someone, right? So because some alarm pheromones will release from that place. And nasano pheromone, the other one, right? It is also released by some worker bees. Sometimes you may have seen some bees on the crown board, right? They are lifting their abdomen like that, right? And they flutter they fan their wings very at high speed. Actually, why they do? What they are they doing? So when they lift the abdomen like that, they can open a kind of gland called nasano gland, and some pheromones will release. And when they fan their wings, right? So these pheromones will release, and it will go across the in the environment, right? So this pheromone is very important for worker bees, for foraging bees to come and find their hive back when they go out. And the other pheromones are actually brood recognition pheromone. Sometimes brood itself can produce some pheromone, right? Some larvae and pupa can produce some pheromone. Now, because of that, nurse bees will come and attend them, right? So then they can get the attention. Even immature queen can release some pheromone, right? So when there is an immature queen, so workers may not start to make another or new queen cells, right? So because some pheromones can release by the immature queen also. Then the drone pheromone, right? In the case of drone pheromone, during mating, so all the drones from different nests, different colonies will gather into one place, what we call drone congregation areas. And queens from all the nest also come to that place for the mating purpose, right? And these drones, they release some pheromones, right? Because of that, so all the drones will be gathered into one place, right? And yeah, and pheromones actually aggregation pheromone. Now you know, when a queen she is swarming, right? Now with the members, she may be leaving the colony, right? So at the air and in the air, now she can emit some pheromone. Because of that, all the bees may settle down in a one place and they may hang on a branch very quickly, right? And anti-aggregation of pheromone mean now once she wants to leave that place, again she will remove another kind of pheromone. So all the bees will start to go again. They leave that place. Then egg laying pheromone, tail following pheromone, footprint pheromone. Now especially this footprint pheromone released by from the foot of the queen, and when she's at rest, she will walk all across the colony. And when she walks, right, so she can deposit this pheromone all over the surface of the colony. Therefore, all the members know the queen is there, queen is active, or something like that. But with the age, the queen cannot walk like that. Therefore, the pheromone that she release may be reduced. So as a result of that, workers may think the queen is not capable, likewise, right? Or sometimes they may think queen is dead, likewise, if the pheromones are not enough for them to work. Then they will start to making some queen cells and start to rear new queens, right? So likewise, it's the responsibility of the queen to maintain and release a fair amount of pheromones in order to coordinate the colony activities, right? Right. Then bees talking to us now. Now so far we talk about how bees are talk each other, right? Now they physically communicate to each other. They chemically they communicate to each other. Therefore, there's a very good coherence, very good coordination, right? Very good integration with the members of the bee colony. Now we are from outside, right? Now when we want to work with bees, we should learn how actually they communicate, right? And we can get some hints from the bees. And if you know these hints, we can easily communicate with the bees. Okay. Now bees, they may not sting you at once, right? For example, they will give a kind of warning, right? They will give a kind of warning before they sting, right? Now they make their bee buzz, right? Or they may fly here and there, right? And if you are really a good beekeeper, now when the bee colony is when they are restless, you should be able to feel that, right? And then you can imagine, okay, now very soon they will attack me or something like that, right? By studying their behavior. Then making queen cells, right? Now sometimes some people say, okay, my colonies were there, now they are dividing and they are leaving my nest, likewise they are saying, but they don't do it at once, right? So at the beginning they start to make some queen cells. Now if you can read their language, right, if you can read their behavior, so then when you look at the queen cells for the first time, so you should know now they are ready to swarm, right? So therefore you have to do some things to stop that part, right? And buzz noise, right? Now if their noise is very high intensity and volume, right? Now that's when bees are restless, so they may be under threatened if there are any pest attack, right? So they are maybe under stressed condition. Then if the bees are working very slowly and calmly, right, now then they are very quiet. I mean, they are not dangerous, right? They are not aggressive. There are some bee strains, and during some times of the day also they can be aggressive or not, right? Now if you're going to handle bees when on the onset of rainfall, right, so they may be very angry, right? Then honey and pollen storing. Now when you observe the combs, if you can see lots of honey or lots of pollen stored in the comb, so that's a good indication that the colony is satisfied and they are well settled, they are well established there, right? And if there are no any nectar or pollen, right, or if it is empty, you can see empty cells, so that's mean they are not happy about that place. Very soon they will leave the colony, right? Very soon they will go and settle somewhere else. Now you should be able to read that, right? And the comb cell size, generally they makes very specific shape and size cells. Those are for the workers actually. Now if the size is bigger than the normal size, or if it is elevated from the surface, right, so then definitely they are going to make some drone cells, right? Now they are going to make some drones. That means they are going to make swarming very future in the near future likewise. So yeah, you have to read these indications when you are observing a colony, right? So these are very good examples or hints. Then so we should handle bees with utmost care, right? So otherwise they can sting you. You can see the stinger of these bees just like needle here in the back of the abdomen. Actually this is a modified ovipositor, right? The queen also has a kind of ovipositor, a stinger, but she don't use that for the sting anyone. It's a kind of egg laying device, right? It's a kind of egg laying device. But most of the workers, they are female. They don't lay eggs because the queen laying eggs for everyone. Therefore, the workers, they are using this ovipositor or egg laying machine for something else, for the defense purpose, right? So they will use it for the defense. Okay. Now, maybe we can have a kind of enlarged view of this stinger in the next slide in time to come. Yes, please. Yeah, here you can see the EM view of the stinger, right? The white color one. So you can see the surface, right? So it has some barbs, right? Some tooth-like things, right? So what will happen when they sting on you? So it will stuck on your skin. It's very difficult to remove because of the shape, right? And this stinger is not alone. Actually, it is always equipped with a kind of venom sac and some muscles in it, right? You can see some yellow color here, so venom sac, and also some muscle attached to that part. Now when they sting on you, right, the sting will permanently, it's still stuck on the skin, and the abdomen will rupture from that place or ripped off, and then the bee will fly away. Unfortunately, there may be some hole will created here at the back of their abdomen, right? So from this hole, moisture, the water will loss continuously. Then at the end, this bee will die. Now remember, if a bee stung you, definitely that bee will be going to be die, right? So you have to be, worried about that. Therefore, if you're a good beekeeper, you should not get bee stinging, right? So you have to reduce that as far as possible, because that's mean you are saving some bees. And if they are stinging, mean a large number of bees will die at the end, right? It's not good for them as well, right? Okay, they are actually kind of suicide bombers, right? Okay, now you can see here the venom sac again, right? So this venom sac contains some poisons in it, or venoms. And when you try to pull it out by using your fingers, what will happen? You will squeeze these venom sacs, then the venom inside this sac will go into your skin. Then as a result of that, you can see your skin or that place can be swollen after some time, right? So the swellings will be there. Actually, this stinger, I told you, there is a venom sac and also some muscles associated with that, right? It is not alone. Some muscles are there. Now, these muscles actually still can work, even it is removed or detached from the abdomen. It has its own life, right? It may still work, right? Still, it can move, right? Okay, because of that, it will go further and further inside to your skin. Now, I think this should be, there should be kind of animation here. I don't know whether it will work. Okay, now, yeah. Now, because of the same reason, actually, the muscles are working. So when they sting on you, so that will go inside your skin. Therefore, remember, you have to remove the stinger by using kind of sharp blade-like thing, right? Don't try to squeeze by using your fingers, right? By using a sharp blade or something like that, you have to scrape them away from, otherwise, yeah, you will do more damage. Right. So what causes bees to sting? Why actually bees are stinging us? Right. Now visiting the hive during the warm part of the day. Now if you go and try to handle bees in the middle of the day, right? So they may be very under stress condition. They will definitely attack you, right? And disturbing them without smoke. Now, some people they don't like to use smoke when they're handling, but what will happen then? They can communicate very good. I mean, each other they can easily communicate by means of chemicals, then they will attack you. There may be a kind of mass attack, right? So when we release or when we apply some smoke, we can nullify or we can reduce the effect of that pheromones, the chemicals, right? So they cannot, there are no time for them to coordinate each other, right? And wearing strong smelling perfume and cosmetic items. Now if you have now these are very sensitive for the smelling things, right? So the pheromones, they are normally released very small in small amount, so they are very sensitive for the smell. So if you use some cosmetic or any perfumes, it will disrupt their normal behavior and they can aggressive and they will come and attack you likewise, right? Wearing dark clothes or wool near the hive during the daytime. Yeah, always light colors are best when you're handling bees. Now if you use very bright colors, right, or dark colors cloth, yeah, again bees will get angry, right? Or they can be very, I mean, aggressive. Then using clumsy movements when inspecting hive. Now you should be calm and quiet, right? Your movement should be very slow motion. I mean, you should not point your finger right away. Now, when you look at now, I have seen some students. So when they see the queen for the first time, they cannot tolerate that emotion. I mean, they right. So they point their finger here and there, and okay, this is the queen, that is the queen, likewise. So then they will come and attack, right? So therefore, you should not do that. I mean, you have to be very calm and quiet, right? Your movement should be very slow, right? There should be some patience within you to do to handle bees, right? If you are moving your head or any other body parts very, I mean, very quickly, so they will quickly react you, right? If you take the hand very quickly, they will definitely come and attack to that hand or something, right? Likewise, right? We have to be very careful. Then standing in their path, flight path. Now, when we observe the colony, we should not be stand in front of the gate, definitely, right? So because it is the place that they can enter or they can leave from the colony. Now, if you block that gate or the path, main path, so definitely they will attack you, right? Because sometimes you have already treated with smoke. I mean, you may apply some smoke to the bees in the house already, but the foraging bees, they were in the field. They don't know what is going on inside the hive. They don't know you are trying to observe their colony or something like that. Then they will come and attack you, right? Because they have not treated with smoke or some other thing. So therefore, remember that you should be a kind of a side from the gate, and then you have to monitor the colony. Then making loud noises when bees are busy nearby, right? Now normally we don't even talk each other when we are handling bees. Maybe it's not an effect, but it is not good to make some noises, right? But remember, we can use noises for our benefit also. Now suppose if your bee colony is try to leave, right? Now, as a swarm, if they are leaving from your nest, what all you can do is by using two pieces of metals, you can make a kind of noise, right? Maybe a mammoty or kind of knife will do that, right? So by using a metal, making some metal noise, right? So then they will settle somewhere very close to your home garden or somewhere near in a branch, right? So then you can go and collect it. Now, noise we can use for our benefit, but sometimes it may be not good for the bees also when you're handling them. All right, now actually I explained this one earlier. Now if stung by a bee, now if you stung by a bee, now you have to remove this stinger as quickly as possible, but you shouldn't make sure, right, not to squeeze that one by your fingers, right? Then you will squeeze that poison sac that I explained you already. Rather, you can use a kind of sharp knife or something like that, right? And you can slowly scrape it out. Now, some people are actually very sensitive for the bee attacks. So there may be some redness or swelling or itching or burning. Likewise, thing can happen. And for some people, very rarely, some people cannot breathe. Actually, they can have some allergy, right? They cannot breathe, and sometimes they may faint. And in such cases, actually, you have to call a doctor, or you have to bring him to a hospital as soon as possible, but very rarely, right? And remember, it is not lethal. It is not lethal for, I mean, very, very rarely some people can die because of the bees attack, but it is very rare, right? And if you are working with the bees for a long time, although you are sensitive for bee attack at the beginning, by the time you can be tolerate, I mean, right? If you work in with bees for some time, then your body will tolerate for that one. And always when I go to field with my students, what I do, I bring some piriton or some citrusin with me. If someone is showing some symptoms like allergies, right? So I give some piriton or yeah, citrusin, then it will become normal. But if it is very severe, remember, you have to contact a doctor. Sometimes it can be lethal. And otherwise, if you have feeling some itching or something like that, you can keep some ice cubes on that place, right? Just to reduce the swelling. And heavily diluted vinegar you can apply, and maybe a cream like hydrocortisone, right? You can apply in that places, right? But as I told you earlier, if you have some symptoms like dizziness, right, faintness or difficult breathing, definitely you may need to contact a doctor, or you have to bring them to a hospital. Yeah, those are the precautions that you have to take. But remember, it is not that much serious, right? Anyway, it is always good to use beeware like this, or you, if you're afraid, you can use glasses, something like glasses like this, or if you have an overcoat like this in this image, you can use those, right? Just your protection. Dosata, right? Bambara bees, definitely you need a very good cloth, like in the right hand side of full over body. But if you are just handling bees, honey bees, right? I think this bee veil is more than enough, right? And always you have to use light color cloths and a smoker like things, as I told you earlier. So those are some important things that you have to have. So this is again, I explained already, you have to apply a little bit of smoke before you start, and time to time you have to smoke also, right? Maybe you apply smoke at the beginning, and normally from one hand you can always keep the smoke, and the other hand you can use always to open the roof and open the super, or to take some frame out from the hive. Likewise, you can operate the colony by using one hand. The other hand, always it is better if you can keep the smoke, because if you keep the smoke somewhere else, so by the time it will I mean end, I mean, it may not produce any smoke here thereafter, right? So therefore you have to keep it in action all the time, to keep it igniting. Otherwise, right, so by the time it may be cooled, and it will not produce any smoke. So time to time you have to apply some smoke as well. And also, as I told you earlier, you have to yeah, use smoke wisely. Don't over smoke them. Don't use very strong or the hot smoke, right? Yeah, these are some. And also, if it is a rainy day, right, don't even think of opening the gates and all this the crown board and thing, right? It is not good, because they can be aggressive, right? In a rainy day, in a cloudy day, in an evening, right? So there, maybe in the morning is the ideal time to handle the bees. Yes. Okay. Now, in that way, actually, we talk very different aspects of communication, right? At the beginning, we talk about how they communicate each other physically, and I think I missed one. They sometimes use the antenna also, right? They use their antenna also in physical communication. By touching their antennae each other, they can communicate. Sometimes you may have seen ants also doing that, right? So they can touch their antennae, what you call antennate. Antennae is actually occupied with very many cells that they can get some serve as mechanoreceptors, right? And yeah, so by touching each other, they can get some information from the antenna. And in case of workers, right? So they use the antenna to measure the size of the hexagonal cells. And even queen, right? Even queen use her antenna to measure the size of respective cells. And just in case if the cell is large, then she knows she has to lay different types of egg, right? And if it is very large, she has to lay a kind of queen cell. Or if it is a regular size one, she know she has to lay some 2N cell, right? Likewise, antenna also they use in physical communication. Then we talk about chemical communication and bee dance. We talk about bee dance, round dance, sickle dance, and the tail dance. And we saw how they communicate the distance and the directions about their food sources, and right after conveying information, how the other bees will go and find the resources, right? And by doing that, they save their energy and time. And also we talk about some chemical communications. In case of pheromones, there are many pheromones are involved in, especially the queen bee. Queen bee can release different types of pheromones for different activity. Even workers can emit some pheromone based on the requirement. So, and also we now bees can communicate to each other, and we also should be able to communicate with the bees. Sometimes bees are giving some hints for us to understand their conditions, right? So if you can talk with the bees by using these languages, right? If you can understand their language, you can be a very good beekeeper one day. And if you cannot understand, if you just neglect what they are telling you, what they are telling each other, then you will be end up with some huge problems. And at the end, the colony will either leave from your place, or you will have you have to face some mass attack, right? Something like that can happen. So I think that is all we wanted to deliver today, Tarindu. So if they have any questions, participants have any questions, so maybe we can pick one or two, depending on the time availability, I think.
Yes, Dr. Alvar, Narmada is asking, when the bee is it to threaten the intruder, or is it just a way of communication among themselves?
Tarindu, I didn't get it. It was not clear. Can you repeat?
Yes. When bees hiss, it's about bee hissing. And
Yeah.
Is it to threaten the intruder, or is it just a way of communication among themselves?
Yes. Bee hissing is a type of communication among them, right? And especially they use it when there's an intruder, right? As I told you in Bambara case also. Now, if some moth species try to attack, now sometimes some moths are coming and collect some bees, right? Now, when they want to do that, they quickly do that, bee hissing. It is not actually, we cannot consider as a regular kind of communication. So they do it as it demands, right? Maybe kind of threat, right? When they have a kind of threat, they do that, right? Yeah, normally they don't do. I mean, it's not necessary to have a kind of hissing. I mean, yeah. So when you approach in the colony, or when some intruders try to attack them, as a kind of defensive way of communication, they used it. Yeah.
So Dr. Vihansit is asking, do Serrana bees have more or less painful sting than Dosata and Floria? The difference between the sting, the painfulness of the sting.
Painfulness. Yeah, Apis cerana. I mean, if you ever feel it have some some pain. Yeah, Bambara, I mean, in Dosata, the cases, they will attack, I mean, large number of bees will attack together. Otherwise, if you think about single bee, it's more or less similar to the honeybees. I mean, Serranas attack. But in case of Dosata, they normally tend to attack as a mass, right? So then it can be more painful. It can be more painful. In case of Floria, actually, it is very, it's not that much painful, right? Yeah, Floria is okay. Okay mean not that much painful. But so if I want to rank, yeah, dosata is number one because there may be some multiple attack, right?
So we have come to the end of today's session, and before we wind up, there are a few announcements to make. Please be sure to register with your correct email address to receive the feedback form and to qualify to receive the certificate for your participation at the end of this webinar series. If this is your first webinar, don't worry. You need to register for the webinar series and you should participate at least 5 webinars to qualify to receive the e-certificate. All the participants who have registered will receive the feedback form one day after the webinar session, and please be sure to fill and submit the form. So I would like to thank you, Dr. Anwar, on behalf of Dilma Conservation and Dilma Tea for your valuable time and sharing some amazing information with us today. And thank you all participants for joining us today. Hopefully, the next webinar for the Friendly Beekeeper webinar series will be about designing of a bee garden, will be held on the 28th of September. And if your questions did not answer today, don't worry, all your questions for today's webinar will be answered as usual. So with that, it's time to conclude our webinar for the day, and have a good day and be safe.
Thank you, Tharindra.